So one of the things we're going to be talking about today has to do with the organization and the changing retail organization. And it's a passion of mine. And if I talk about my background a little bit, I think you'll understand why. So I've been a career retailer up until about 5 years ago when I joined NRF. And in my retail career, working with, in all cases, really high growth companies, working at Tory Burch as the COO and working through some of the organizational challenges of growing 300% in the space of a couple of years, and all of the organizational stuff that goes with that while protecting the culture. And working at both Gucci during 10 acquisitions around the world, we were really forward thinking in how we incorporated those brands and people into an organization in a fluid and flexible way. And then having worked at NRF and Shop.org and being responsible for all of the communities, so all of you guys in your roles, we set out 5 years ago to build councils and communities with the end goal that they would be collaborating together, which is what you're all having to do. So it's been kind of, in one way or another, my life's work, and certainly in the last 5 years, getting the different titles to be working together.
And we appreciate having you here today. And so it was really interesting having Wayne speak before us, because he's got a digital commerce role, which is something that we're going to talk about. And I also, it also occurred to me when he said, you know, it's the year of personalization, that we don't have any chief personalization officers yet. So I don't know, maybe that's the next thing to come.
Good point.
But we do have omni-channel and innovation. We're gonna just look at real quick some of the key takeaways from this study that we just completed. There were 195 retail executives who participated. We found out that 66% have added new roles in the last 3 years, and another 9% are planning to. So it's definitely something that's on the minds of retail organizations. And I think that what we're going to talk about is, you know, how to manage that, because it's not just about, you know, giving something a name and sending it on its way. Digital strategy and data and analytics are a couple of the key roles that companies are adding, and Wayne, you know, is a perfect example of you know, how that's being incorporated into an organization. And one of the things that we really are going to highlight in this study that you're going to see coming out in the next few days is the stronger bond between marketing and IT, but also marketing and all other you know, areas of the business. And it's something that you know, needs to be addressed effectively. And so we're going to talk about that as well. So this is what we found in this year's study. We first did this study called Changing Roles in Retail in 2014, and we just revisited it this year. So, you know, we found that digital strategy, innovation, and data and analytics are really the roles that are jumping into the scene now, whereas in 2014, companies were just starting to think about adding roles called customer innovation or transformation. So, so I think, you know, my feeling on this is that it's just, we started thinking about customer as the focus several years ago, but now we're getting into the, you know, more granular details about how to pull it off. And again, it's all about the customer, and you know, we hear that in every presentation, everyone that we talk to. And here are the 3 top drivers behind adding these new roles: the customer experience, customer behavior, getting better insights into customer behaviors, and improving customer loyalty. And here is just a little bit of a look at what we're going to be talking about in the report about marketing, the integration between marketing and other parts of the company, and collaboration is the key between these groups, and marketing and IT, marketing and merchandising, marketing and store operations. So there's been a lot of progress in collaboration among these groups in the companies, but we still see that organizations are feeling like it's still a really important area that needs to be addressed further, because you know, what are the 3 areas with the most pressing need to improve collaboration? It's still marketing and IT. So it's had the best effort, but it still needs more effort. And then real quick, it was interesting. You don't often get a whole lot of write-in responses when we do these types of surveys, but there are a lot of other different types of roles that are coming up in organizations, and these are just some of them. So just something to think about. Some other roles if you're still thinking about where you need to add new roles and titles. So with that, Vicki, I think that we just want to talk a little bit about, and maybe you can just share your insights on what does this all mean, right? And as we said at the beginning, it's not just about pinning a new title on something.
Yeah.
But what are the challenges that companies are facing?
So if you could go back to that slide that talks about the new titles, just to have as a backdrop here.
Can I go back?
There you go. Keep going.
This
Yeah.
one? Okay.
So first of all, on the next slide, you saw that big numbers on the cause for all these new titles and new roles was about the customer. And so what I'm seeing, though, is that so digital transformation is key. This is really important. Digital strategy, analytics, and data. There's so much data. There's so much analytics going on. If you're talking about getting in touch with the customer, it's all about the customer data. Digital transformation is key of how it plays, and I don't mean e-commerce. I mean the digital interaction with your customers across all of your channels. And this word omni-channel has had to do with really almost what's happening in the back office to get all this stuff integrated to have a seamless customer experience. So there's a couple things about this. One is I'm finding that people are creating these new titles and these new roles without the hard work inside the organization for everyone to understand what does that new role mean? What reports in to that new role? And I can talk about those things a little bit, and I'm sure that if we took a poll in this room, you would all have some variation of, does marketing report to digital? Does IT report in? Who reports to marketing? There's still a lot of differences there. So there's a lot of confusion inside organizations about what these new roles mean, what are they doing, who reports in, and who's making decisions. Now let's talk about that. Market insights are a key thing. Almost everybody is talking about, I got to have more market insights, not just about my customer, but what does the customer's life look like? Yes, how they react to my brand, but what is the customer? What's market insights look like? So you get all this new market insights. What are you doing with that? Does the whole organization know who is evaluating that data? This means something to our brand. This is what is going to result. These are the innovations that are going to result. And if I ask people, I did a series of dinners on similar research, and the people in the room still can't answer those questions. Who's making those decisions? Who is coming through this market analytics and saying, that's important to us, and here's how we're going to go forward? Everybody understand? Everybody on board? A lot of the hard work about incorporating these new titles is still confusing. The other thing that I would tell you is, for all of the talk about getting close to the customer, I would venture to say that none of you and no retailer is customer-centric. There are some that are leaders, that you're doing amazing things with some innovative thought processes and some great customer initiatives, and you guys are the leaders because you're doing something, you're reacting to something, and you're making changes in your business. We saw it with Walgreens, we saw it with many of you. But I'm telling you that you are not customer-centric. You can say it all day, you are not. If you can answer yes to any of these questions, you're not customer-centric. And that is your financial structure in your company in any way, shape, or form related to a channel? In any way? If you can answer yes to that, you are not customer-centric. Are your store bonus, commission strategies, how you reward employees, how you do year-on-year bonus plans for the stores, if any of that, your financial reward structure is related to a channel, you are not customer-centric. If your data is in more than one place, the customer data is in more than one place, or you don't have all the pieces you need you are not customer-centric. So you can say, I'm doing this and we are, you know, I would challenge that. That's the big hard work that has to happen over the coming years.
What would you say are I mean, what would, tips would you give to companies for how to, how to get further down that road? Because again, like you said, I mean, and we've seen statistics on how many retail companies say they're customer-centric. 80% of you will raise your hand. How many? And if we had the same room full of consumers, how many consumers think retailers are customer-centric? 2%. And so, what would your tips be on? So we need to change the mindset, but how do we start that process?
I think that and look, none of these are quick. This is a huge transformation that has to happen over the next 5 years. And when you talk about this, what's interesting about this, when the survey talked about the collaboration between marketing and IT and how much it's improved, I've totally seen that. We've been working on that for years. But you'll notice that the titles on this slide don't match who's collaborating in the organization necessarily, because who's collaborating with each other is still talking about silos. Okay, you're still in that CIO, CMO, head merchant, head of stores. You're still in that silo mentality, and that's what has to break apart over the next few years. We're starting with these titles that change reporting structures, et cetera. So what are tips? There's a couple of big things that have to happen over the coming years. One is, I know it sounds obvious, but it's really not obvious. Your customer data, it has to be your #1 priority. Either get more of it, get it more complete, manage with outside services to clean it, get it good, have it managed by a person, not 3 different departments, and who provides what insight. Really hone in on getting that customer data. Really make it your ability to say you are, in fact, customer-centric. The other thing is, if you want to start changing your organization, you can't do it in a big way. You have to start with bridge strategies, is what I call them. So let's say you have an initiative or a new thing, or we're going to do this piece of innovation, or we're going to change this process to be more innovative. Start pulling people in the organization in an ad hoc way to work together in a task force way to help smooth through these new relationships and these new reporting relationships. Bridge strategies are going to be the key. You don't wake up one day in a retail organization or a public one or with tons of stores and et cetera, and this all becomes apparent. But this is the hard work that has to happen over the next 5 years. And the last thing is, honest to God, it starts with the CEO. Can the CEO really report and tell everyone, here's our structure, here's why we're making this decision, here's what this means to us, here's how we think about the customer, this is how the whole company has to operate. By the way, we're changing our financial system to not have anything to do with it. Like real stuff. It has to start from the top, and any change that has to happen has to be communicated all day, every day, all day, every day, with everyone, all the way down to the store level. It's hard work. It's the change management of organizational change. That's really what has to happen.
Right.
Big stuff.
It is. I think with that, we had a real quick overview. I really love the way that you put together the insights and the tips and recommendations, and it absolutely is hard work. So everybody, look for this study to come out, and love to hear your feedback and insights on it further. And there's a couple of quotes from Vicki in there also. So again, thank you so much, Vicki, for that quick high-level look.